Alright guys, here with another War Offense video for you. This time we're going to showcase the Fantastic Four in my two preferred matchups. Counter matchup with Fantastic Four and the Wave 1 Avengers. Let's go ahead and start with Wave 1 Avengers. We got a little bit of punch up, but first, hey! Dropping in to say hello. So you'll see right away that this matchup, it's a little bit different because it's a very big Captain America, you know, Gear 15, probably in Dark Dimension 4, right? It's a very small Thor. If it wasn't that small a Thor, I'd be very hesitant to take this fight. You'll also see they're not boosted. If they were boosted, again, I probably wouldn't take this fight. But because they're not, I go ahead and do the 36k punch up, and you'll see how it goes. So Johnny Storm loses his offense up. That's not a big deal. Namor didn't. They're not boosted, so he takes all their positive effects off, and he really sets them up for failure. Now you'll see Hawkeye looked like he was a really good target there for the taking, but for this matchup to work, you need to kill that Thor before you get stuck behind the tanks doing their thing. So it's very important. Hawkeye sucks, you don't want to get blinded, but I'd rather kill Thor and deal with Hawkeye later. So we continue down the road, and you'll see we actually do kill the Hawkeye regardless. And then we're stuck behind the tanks, and it's just, they're going to ping back and forth. We're going to do what we do. Eventually we'll take them down. You'll see I kind of go for the Captain America just because I'm not worried about dying, and I wanted to limit test a little bit. But we will eventually get them down. Go through this. You don't want to watch, I think it was like 4 minutes of this, I think. There you go. And that's a win. So, you know, 35k punch up. Again, because I have Radar Namor, I like to take unboosted targets, and I like to make sure that Thor is not that big. Now the next matchup we have here is a counter matchup, but with She-Hulk obviously on defense. And you'll see they have all their buffs. It is a 50k punch down, a little bit more than 50k. And the trick to this fight is, of course, you got to kill Johnny Storm. You kill their Johnny Storm before your Johnny Storm dies, you're going to be in great shape. After Johnny Storm, Reed Richards. After Reed Richards, I like to go for Invisible Woman to make sure her cooldowns don't get back up, you get stuck. So you'll see both Johnny Storms are in trouble. My Johnny Storm lived though, and theirs didn't. So we're in really good shape. I'm going to take a sideways glance at this She-Hulk because I know they're small right now. I don't think I can take her out first try anyway, so I go for the Reed Richards. I don't want to get stunned by his special. So, there you go. So unfortunately Namor is going to be attacking with that offense down, but then Sue is going to clear it from the rest of them. And there you go. That's my striker on Johnny Storm. I like that. It's kind of a ballsy move because of how squishy he is. Fortifier seems to work really well on him, but I really like that double tap. It goes a long way, especially in these matchups where you really got to kill the enemy before you get killed. So next I go for Invisible Woman, despite her being the strongest. I'm not too worried now that I have defense up about She-Hulk ruining my day. So we go for the Invisible Woman and we make sure she's out so we don't have to worry about her. Healing, I assume she was ISO healer. And then you see we take off from there. So that's about enough of that. Let's go and look at my Fantastic Four. Talk about T4s, ISO 8, and power levels you want to be looking at. So for Invisible Woman, you see I have a very big Invisible Woman with 7 red star. She will be joining me in Dark Dimension 4, so she's only going to get bigger. I really like her as a healer, not only because she's got such a big health pool with these red stars, but also I just find that the team lacks a little bit more sustain. Instead of just like absorbing the damage, they need to be able to recover from it as well. I think healing goes a long way for that. Now, you definitely want the special. It's going to clear more negative effects from all enemies, as well as apply stealth to everybody. You want to make sure your Johnny Storm doesn't get left out in the dark on stealth. So it's important that everybody gets it, and you want to make sure when you use that ability, he's not the highest health person, because if you just say, here you go, my Johnny Storm, take him, you're going to be in trouble. Next, the ultimate. I really like the offense down 2 turns to all enemies instead of 3 enemies. That really helps out against Wave 1 Avengers. And 10% of his character's math health as barrier. Next, I like this passive more so because I have a 7 red star, so it helps out more. The extra ping damage when somebody attacks barrier goes a long way for me. So that's my Invisible Woman. Next we'll look at Johnny Storm. Flame on, 10% damage, I believe, right? You flip more negative effects, that's good. And 10% damage to yourself. And Fantastic Four and Namor. That goes a long way. I'm hopeful that this team is going to get boosted with Silver Surfer because there's strong comic ties there. I'm not sold on that. He might just be a Doom complement. But if this team does get better, it really only needs Invisible Woman to go before everybody else. If Invisible Woman's getting that barrier out sooner, this team is going to counter a lot more teams than it currently does. So, in the meantime, just the passive I recommend. If you want to do a second one, go with the special. It's not every fight you're going to get that ultimate off. So, special over ultimate. Next we got Thing. I have no T4s in Thing. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to Johnny Storm just to say, Striker and Johnny Storm, I really like that double tap interaction you have, especially since Fantastic Four gets a lot of assists. So my skirmisher, Mr. Fantastic, gets invulnerables out. Johnny Storm with his high damage really makes use of it. So now let's go over to Thing. My Thing and my Mr. Fantastic are smaller than I'd like. Their damage is a little underrated. They really do a lot of work in the in-between Namor and Johnny Storm time. With that said, I do have him as a healer instead of a striker. He has such a big health pool. I think he's only 40k life less than my 7 red star Invisible Woman, who's a gear tier ahead of him. The health, again, same reason as Invisible Woman. I like adding a little bit more sustain to this team. As far as T4s go, this is just armor, not really worth it. This is just damage. If you're going big on this team and you want to use them against teams like Emmarauders, take it, because it's really going to help you punch through that strife. But I really like the special. So it's a low cooldown ability, and it takes the RNG out of the attacks, which is great, right? There's nothing worse than just getting the one hit with it. Next, we got Mr. Fantastic. Again, I have no T4s. He's my skirmisher on the team. Obviously, you want to have him because you need the invulnerabilities. Now, you'll see my Namor's Raider, so I can get more invulnerabilities from him, but that's not a very smart ISO choice. I just don't have the spare ions to switch him to Striker since we learned about the deflect crit interaction. So he's my skirmisher. Most of his T4s are useless. Make an argument for the ultimate. Just choose 3 random enemies, remove a positive effect, plus the focus and resistance. You can make an argument for that. I don't like it that much. But the special, take it from a 50% chance to always apply stun. That, top notch, very important. So that's the Fantastic Four. Let me show you my Namor. He's a little bit more invested in than the others. I have him at tier 14. I have him as a Raider. Striker's a better call if you're going to boost targets. If you're not going to boost targets, Raider's better, but in these higher end wars, mostly everything's going to be boosted, right? So, passive, 100%. Gain armor, gain damage. War offense, spawn with offense up to everybody. Very important. Passive all the way. And the ultimate. The ultimate is very important on offense. It's going to clear all positive effects from the target, and it's going to reduce the speed bar by 10% more. That's great. Reduce speed bar of all targets by 50% when it's maxed out. That is incredible. Okay. His special, because it's such a low cooldown, I actually do really like this ability. You saw it in use against the Wave 1 Avengers. It really does smack Captain America if he blocks. It'll really hurt people with deflect. So again, your Strife, if you want to take them to Emmarauders, I would suggest this. Personally, I'm passing on it until Fantastic Four gets a little bit better, because right now I really only see use for them against those 2 teams. So let's talk about other teams that you might be able to use them in. This last war, I did a 100k punch down into Emmarauders with Doc Ock. So it was my, I think, 440k or 460k Fantastic Four against a 360k Emmarauders. I wiped the floor with them, as you would expect, which is good. I've done that on a punch across. It was more risky. It was very lucky that I got the Strife down. It was also very lucky that they cloned Namor instead of any of the other 4. Like, if you clone Reed Richards, you're in trouble. If you clone Sue, you're probably going to lose that fight. So I really only recommend using Emmarauders using Fantastic Four on Emmarauders on a very big punch down. As far as like a Guardian Minerva team, or maybe there'll be a Ghost on there, that could be tricky as well, because you could get tunneled out before Johnny Storm really gets to get his protection up. Again, we need that Invisible Woman to step her game up at some point. But Fantastic Four is a really good kind of, this is an unmeta team, they're a little bit slower. If I burst this one character down, we're good. I suggest using them on that. So, I hope this helped you out in some way, shape, or form. And let me know if there's any other team videos you want to see, and I'll get to work on those. Later.